Okay, so this is Metal Slug Anthology for the PSP. We have the original Metal Slug, Metal Slug 2, Metal Slug 3, Metal Slug 4, Metal Slug 5, Metal Slug X. And since we had some technical difficulties with the Game Boy Advance version, we're going to play the original Metal Slug that's coming out on Game Boy Advance on the PSP. Although this Metal Slug doesn't incorporate the analog stick, the directional pad still has a good response to moving around the environment. Nice fluid movement, very true to the original arcade version, and everything seems intact. Very fun. A Metal Slug Anthology on the PSP, what more do you want? You got 6 titles, loads of fun. You know, who doesn't get tired of a 2D shooter? The good thing about it, if you're driving, you have kids, they'll be kicking and screaming. So this had to shut those little brats up for a bit while you're trying to drive and keep your cool. Because I know I'm sold. That baby just bounced. I love it.
Thanks, Dan. Ever felt you were conforming too much by driving on the roads? Rather than veer off and risk causing hundreds of pounds worth of damage to your parents' car, why not check out ATV Offroad Fury Pro for PSP? It offers you 30 different environments and 6 different terrains to go crazy on. Plus you can spend thousands tuning up and customizing your own vehicle just to destroy it in a matter of seconds. Cross-connect with ATV Offroad Fury 4 on PlayStation 2 and trade vehicles or share circuits you've created in the track editor. Mini-games and multiplayer modes are also available, so despite a sometimes infuriating AI and repetitive muddy terrain, there's still plenty of jollies to be had. Metal Gear Solid graphic novel is exactly what it says it is, a graphic novel retelling the original Metal Gear Solid storyline as interpreted by Chris Aprisco, with Ashley Wood from the official comic series stepping in to provide the artwork. For the most part, it's a straightforward story, but there are items to collect in some of the scenes that unlock special flashbacks. It's one for fans of Metal Gear's plotline or comics in general. Those looking for an actual game as opposed to an interactive comic book though, had best look elsewhere. NBA 07 for the PSP is the next installment in Sony's popular basketball series. Unlike the console games, there's no career mode, but a number of mini-games have been introduced, such as the Slam Dunk Challenge, which involves following button combinations to pull off slam dunks. You also get carnival-style games like Pop-A-Shot, Pinball and Skee-Ball. If you want something more challenging, you have Conquest Mode, where your NBA team has to take over different NBA squads all over the country, or Pickup Mode, a playground-style game. Or you could just have a good old game of regular basketball. Gameplay is pretty much the same as NBA 06, with a good shooting system but poor team player AI and weak defense, but for a quick game of basketball on the go, it does the job nicely. War! What's it good for? Blowing things up apparently, but KillZone Liberation on PSP sees you set out to rescue a series of hostages over 16 missions. We sent Chris to see what else was different between this new PSP tactical game and the original PlayStation 2 shooter.
I just played KillZone on the PSP.
The art team have worked really hard to make it feel like a believable KillZone world. The environment isn't static. You've got this crane swinging, these wires here, they're swaying in the wind, water coming out of there. If I come further down here, you can see Flotsam and Jetsam floating around in the water there. And it's very true to the KillZone roots.
I remember playing KillZone on the PS2. It was a first-person shooter, so that's what I was expecting. Totally amazed me that it was a top-down game. I wasn't expecting that. It looked a lot like Metal Gear.
When we did our original research into this, we felt that the first person wouldn't work as well on the PSP because of the nature of the machine. You would get more out of it by designing something completely new. By taking this top-down camera, it allows you an overview of the action around you, so you can see the movement of the enemies, you can read the AI of the enemies. It allows you to think more tactically.
It's got a lot of the same ideas of Metal Gear. The eyes and indicators, you can tell what the AI's thinking.
The broad yellow beam from his eyes indicates that he's in a passive patrol mode. If he suspects somebody, the beam narrows slightly and goes orange. If I fire off my gun, he becomes alerted and then becomes hostile towards me.
What's different, what makes it cool, is the way that the camera pulls out to show your character.
When there's enemies in the vicinity, it will offset to show you where the enemy is. And as you get closer to an enemy, it subtly zooms in, and as you get further away, it zooms out to give you more of a view of the level.
Metal Gear, one of my complaints was you couldn't see all the action. You couldn't see where the people were, you couldn't see things going on. You were only presented with a narrow view. Here, the camera pulls out and shows you everything that's going on.
But what we've done here as well, when you hide, you can very faintly see your character behind the cover, so you're never in a position where you don't know where your character is.
The controls weren't intuitive. They took a little while to get. I'm down. Okay, what I did is I told my guy to plant a charge, which was not smart gameplay. Should have told him to make an attack. But then again, I'm still learning. But once he got them, they felt really smooth, and I can have him go right there, and he'll start covering me.
The buddy's good to use in that respect. You can position him behind cover, you can make him attack the enemies, you can make him place C4 to blow up obstacles. So there are different types of buddies. Some of them are like demolitions experts, some of them like him, like a weapons guy. And then in some cases you have to rescue hostages who you have to protect, but you can order around in the same way. We're doing this to try and allow people to experience kind of a co-op gameplay, but without, having to play with another person.
First time through is a little difficult, but after going through a few times, getting killed and learning, I was able to master the controls. Wasn't able to master the game quite yet, but at least I had the basics down. And that was within about 15 minutes of gameplay.
If you get knocked over by the enemy's gunfire, you'll lie flat on your back and the little icon will pop up. If you press the action button, which is X, you'll then stand up. If you get close enough into the enemy, if you press X then, you then get your gun and you sort of whack them to the floor, at which point you can then execute them. So it's like a cool little move. If you walk up to switches, again, a different icon, you can hit the switch. It all works off the action button, but it's context sensitive depending on where you are. We try to make that as clear as possible.
Yeah, there was a vehicle section in here, which was really cool.
We try to make it really sort of simple and fun, and you're shooting and you're blowing people away, you don't have to worry too much about your health unless you come across the rocket guys. It's just supposed to be really good fun.
It was really cool that I got to use a tank. I was going around firing rockets and machine guns. It was a little difficult to control, but once again, it'll take a little bit of practice.
X allows you to accelerate. You control the turret with these trigger buttons, fire a rocket off at this guy and send him flying, but you also have a machine gun, so you can shoot that way and fire rockets another way. Because you're in the tank, machine gun fire, no real threat. This guy's a bit of a pest. I could shoot him, but what might be even more fun is if I drive over him, like that. The real weakness of the tank comes against the rocket guys. So it's a bit of a stalemate because when he fires a rocket, I can fire a rocket back, which will blow his rocket up, but it's all about the timing, really.
By about my fourth time, I had it down and I was ready to go. I got pretty far. First time I tried playing this, I had no idea what was going on, no idea where to send people or anything, but after getting the tutorial from the producer, I'm a little bit better now. Wow, these guys are moving quite fast. Faster than I'm used to. AI seems to be really good for a handheld, and I'm down for the count. But I'm sure after lots of practice I'll be able to do much better at this. Overall, it was an interesting experience. I'll definitely talk about it. It was a little frustrating at the beginning, but once I knew what I was doing, it became quite fun, and I was thinking less about what button to push and how to take out the AI and control my character.
We can launch like a two-pronged attack to stop the AI from flanking you, because the AI on this game is quite clever. And they'll try and find ways to get round you and take you from behind. It can be quite sort of frantic.
It's a game where if you keep playing and really persist at it, it can be quite rewarding and quite fun. It's a bit challenging in the beginning, but the fun and enjoyment increases the more you go on to play.
Thanks, Chris. Sonic sure can run, and in Sonic Rivals you start off racing against Knuckles in a friendly competition. But it's not long before others join in and you find yourself in a race with your rivals. But don't panic, you can take advantage of boost moves and shove fellow racers out of the way in your bid to be the first over the finish line. Each character has a different story to tell, so you race through different courses depending on who you choose, and the levels play like old 2D Sonic levels with 3D presentation. Race against the machine in one player, or take on your friends in multiplayer mode. There's even a reward system to improve your character's performance, so racers, start your hedgehogs. Another game we caught doing the rounds on PSP was the beat-em-up Legend of the Dragon. Based on the Chinese zodiac, each character wears a wristband that allows them to harness the powers of their zodiac sign and unleash special magic and spells accordingly. When not harnessing such magic, each of the 24 characters pulls a different combat style to master, and as well as 2-player action, team battles and tag battles, there's also a 1-player quest mode. Will it be any good? Heavens knows. Hot on the heels of the blockbuster movie comes Superman Returns for PSP. Now you can be the superhuman flying machine who goes around fighting evil in his mum's tights and red pants. The game lets you use X-ray vision, heat vision, super hearing, super strength, super speed, super breath, and of course flight. There are different uses for your special powers, and you have full control of aerial maneuvers. Unfortunately, the unfinished build we saw resembled clumsily flying around a cardboard shoebox, but we hope things improve come launch. Everybody loves kung fu fighting, apparently. Try telling that to the person who's just met with certain death. Yes, it's Midway's Mortal Kombat Unchained. Made exclusively for PSP, this brings you everything you love about Mortal Kombat and then some, boasting the usual roster of characters as well as a few new ones to boot. Environments are destructible, so you can fling opposition through walls, floors and ceilings, and there are 3 styles of fighting, one involving hand-to-hand combat, the other 2 weapons-based. Enjoy watching midgets fight. A special puzzle mode brings us miniature versions of the characters dueling it out during Tetris-style puzzles. There's also a chess mode and a 1-player quest, although as ever, it's when you connect over Wi-Fi for 2-player mayhem that this beat-em-up franchise is at its best. Trouble doesn't take a holiday often, but when it does, it's always at the same holiday resort you're staying at. At least that's the problem Ratchet and Clank are having, as after agreeing to help Luna with her homework, she gets kidnapped by aliens, and they're off to save the day yet again in a full-on platform adventure. Old characters such as Captain Quark make a return, there are new weapons available as well as old classics, and for the first time in the series you're able to play as Clank at certain points in the game. There's also a simpler levelling system and a Wi-Fi multiplayer mode. They sure do like to cram a lot into their holidays. Here's Karina with the last word.
It's something that I've been waiting for. I played all the other Ratchet and Clanks, all of them. I pass them, I go over them. Every time that you play, there's something secret you gotta look for. It's a very enjoyable game, but the only thing is that I gotta buy a PSP now.
Thanks, Karina. So it's time to say goodbye through the PSP Camera, as that's it from us at this year's E3. Although we'll leave you with our gamers' final thoughts.